Junction, and I call the meeting of April 7th, 2021 of the City of Apache Junction Parks and Rec Commission at 6 o'clock. And may we have a roll call for attendance, please?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Frank Schoenbeck. Here. Commissioner Heather Moeller.
Here.
Vice Chairperson Judy Bory.
Here.
Commissioner D.L. Kine.
Here.
Commissioner Luciana Buzin.
Here.
We have a quorum, 5 people present, 2 excused.
Okay, and will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Acceptance of the agenda. Have all of you read the agenda, reviewed it?
I move we accept the agenda as written.
Second.
Roll call for acceptance of the agenda, or of the motion, I guess it's of the motion.
Commissioner Frank Schoenbeck.
Yes.
Commissioner Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Commissioner D.L. Kine.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Judy Bory.
Yes.
And Commissioner Luciana Buzin.
Yes.
We accept the agenda.
Okay, and then can we have a motion to accept the April 7th, 2021 regular meeting agenda? Or the March? Is it the March one?
We did the agenda, and now we're doing.
So now minutes, Judy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. They're right there next to each other.
Okay. Has everyone received and reviewed the minutes of the March 3rd meeting, 2021 meeting?
Madam Chair, I move we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Okay, and then roll call for acceptance of the motion.
Commissioner Luciana Buzin.
Yes.
Commissioner Frank Schoenbeck.
Yes.
Commissioner Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Commissioner D.L. Kine.
Yes.
And Vice Chairperson Judy Bory.
Yes.
Okay, passes.
Okay. We're good.
Okay. And Parks and Rec Director's Report.
Thank you, Vice Chair Bory, members of the commission. Starting off with our facility update, we have several different things to share tonight. We've been kind of updating you as we go along the way with BLM. We don't have any new movement on BLM's process for our pre-purchase application. They are in the middle of several of their reviews. They did come out and do one of their initial environmental studies that will be needing to be conducted. But we don't really have any kind of new, exciting news yet. So we knew that this was going to be about a year process for some of these pieces. So we'll just kind of keep it on the radar, and we want to just make sure that you're aware of what's going on there. The second major item that I just wanted to give you a quick update on is our dog park information. Again, really not a lot of anything new since we've been talking about this issue. It will be going out to bid hopefully this month. And we're finalizing the last of those little pieces. And then I will also be presenting at the Art Commission next Monday to talk a little bit about the art installations that will potentially be going in at the dog park once construction is complete, and kind of discussing this will be one of their first big public projects that they'll get to do as an art commission. And so we're really excited about that. And I will be able to update you on where we're at on that at our next meeting. A couple of other facility items. We have a weekend desert cleanup. So as I reported last meeting, we are really We're struggling with a little bit of the homeless and transient desert dumping kind of thing out in our, mainly our open space areas, not so much on our big multi-use trail system, but a lot of the other areas. And so we've been doing a lot of different mitigation efforts with our park ranger program, as well as the police department, but also with residents on some cleanup projects. So we have our first big one coming up this Saturday, April 10th, and if anybody wants information about that or is interested in, we'll be out there early in the morning if they would like to participate in that. But this is going to be kind of a biannual activity, and so this will be kind of our first one. It's a little warm, so we're not expecting a ton of people out there, but we'll be planning to do it again in the fall, and so we'll be able to report on how that went. Want to share a little bit about Superstition Shadows Park and some of the various things out there. We are going to be having we've ordered, I know we shared with you that we have in the budget this year a replacement playground feature for Superstition Shadows Park area. We had, just to kind of remind those of you that have been on the commission, and I forgot that I can't navigate my thing. Those of you that have been on the commission know that we had moved one of our large playground structures that was out at Superstition Shadows over to the city complex park that's in front of the Multi-Gen Center, and with the intent to put something else in its place. It was getting vandalized a lot. That area is between the junior high and the high school, and so we really wanted to work with them on what are things of that age group. We had a lot of people coming over for fitness from the nearby residents, asking about fitness equipment and things like that, and so we wanted to put something in that was usable by lots of ages. Unfortunately, some of our playground structures aren't really designed for kids over 12, and so so we still have some of those features over there, but we wanted to put something else in there that older kids could also participate in, and adults could do fitness. And so we have a bamboo jungle that I just wanted to show you really quickly. We have a really short 30-second video so you can kind of see it in action. Oh, you. Just going to make sure our sound is up. Okay. That was it. This is it in the big pic. Oh, it's already switched. I'm going to get to our little video, and then you can see it live. So our parks staff kind of looked through some different options and worked on trying to find some things that could be a little bit unique, something different that we don't already have out here. There's so many neat features out in the world. I apologize, it's not bigger, but so just to kind of get an idea of how people utilize that, just to give you an idea of how people will utilize it, that group was obviously adults, and they were way up there high, but there's lots of different levels. There's a super beginning level, intermediate level. It comes with a set of instructions and some different things that will be placed out there. But in talking with a lot of the kids and then our parks team, we were really excited about having that. So we just wanted to give you a heads up. That will probably be getting installed around June or so is what I think will be happening on that one. And then a couple of other things that I just wanted to bring your attention to, if I can get to them quick. So really quickly on this one, why is it not doing what I want? Okay. You may have already heard or seen this recently, but we had been talking about the focal point. So as you recall, many years ago, this used to be, we traded out flowers in the summer and in the wintertime with different types of flowers. And many years ago, we changed over, I think really more so whenever budgets were really tight, changed over and put in a golden barrel cactus that for a really long time did look really cool. They represented the yellow stripes on the Arizona flag and looked really nice. This last year has been really tough on even all of our desert vegetation, all of our native stuff. And this area does not, at the time, it doesn't get irrigated. It has to be hand watered at the time if we were going to be watering our golden barrels. We've never had to water them. Even with a little bit of water, that excessive heat was really, really shocking to them. And so what we did, a lot of them died out. And so we basically thinned back, took all of our best ones and put them in these rows right here. And we're going to go ahead and, our parks team again really kind of brought the idea that this is our downtown area. This intersection right here is near to Flatiron Park and into a lot of our business district. It's where the marquee, and we have a lot of other really nice landscaping. So could we bring back the concept of the flowers? And so we thought maybe we could just do something in a kind of compromised way. So maybe not the whole thing and spend that whole amount of money each year. But basically we revegetated these 3 rows with flowers. Those are, I don't know if they're complete today. If they're not, it'll probably be wrapping up tomorrow. But leaving the other 2 spikes as golden barrel, and then we'll kind of see how it looks and what does the public think? What does our community think? We can absolutely be adding this into our corporate partnership program if funding is a concern at some point. We might decide we like them all to be flowers and want it all to be back to being flowers. So we'll be kind of assessing that, seeing what people are interested in. But we're really excited to see that. So they've just planted the summer flowers right now, and then those will come out in the fall. So all of these are things that would end up getting replaced seasonally. And it is a little bit more cost in water and obviously cost in the plant product itself. We do have some savings from other areas in irrigation. And again, we're going to go back to trying this a little bit. We think that the downtown area is a really important place for a good investment of color and, making people really proud to be down there. So that's the Focal Point project. Does anybody have any questions on that? I know it's kind of been out there a little bit on Facebook and... Yes.
So once the community decides that oh, this is really good, we're on board, would that be something that we would look into grants for beautification type of thing?
Well, so we can look for grants. They usually don't do grants for long-term stuff, but our corporate partnership program is. I'm sure there are things, so kind of starter grants are usually pretty good for that. This project is about $5,000, so it's not a humongous hit to our budget. And so we'll certainly look at corporate partnership, or, the city is doing a lot of investing in the downtown area, and this is something that is typically done in most downtowns, is spending a little bit extra. This is our art, and as you can see from the overhead view, the Focal Point is a really important piece that we want to highlight. So it's absolutely eligible for all of those things, and we will look at all those opportunities. Currently, we have budgeted, though, for next year. The budget is in review time right now. But we did budget for this, and council will be able to choose to see if that's how they want to proceed.
Okay, Liz, do we have a Master Gardeners program running out of the college, or
so here
or
locally
gardening club?
So locally is our Superstition Master Gardeners, and they are a chapter that's out here in this area. They're affiliated with the University of Arizona, and they're very active. So they use our Multi-Gen Center for their club meetings and a lot of their training things. They were involved with us in all the Silly Mountain Botanical Walk project that happened this fall. So we work closely with them on a lot of things. They came out to this area and helped us assess some of our native stuff that was really struggling. Mm-hmm. Some of it's through just the horrible temperatures, but some of it's also through some disease and things that they've just been much more susceptible to a lot of things this year. But our Master Garden, so they are not able to plant, I guess, is what I understood, though, from our partnership meeting. So they can advise, they can do an audit on things, but they, in their charter, for some reason, can't actually be the planters of stuff. So,
Mm-hmm. But a garden club could do that then?
Yeah, and I'm not aware of a garden club out here.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Right there at the Focal Point, can we put that our big flag in there in the center?
So the center right there is where the tree goes each Christmas.
Oh,
we used to have a flag back here, but instead, so the Veterans Organization did a big funding. What they wanted to have was what we have moved over to the marquee side. So right over here is our American flag, Arizona state flag, and then all the flags of the branches of the military. So we really didn't feel it was appropriate to have a separate flag over here and an American flag over here. This is where our big American flag display is right now.
Okay, okay,
Okay?
makes sense.
It did used to be there, though. And then, so that's all my photos right now. And then the last thing I kind of wanted to bring to your attention is some of our issues with our skate park that we have been experiencing. So definitely just some different issues out there. So a lot more vandalism than usual, primarily to our restroom facility. And so a lot of that is affecting, the park overall. That restroom facility is, it was built originally by the school district, I think, or else us long ago. It's in the 30 years old range. And there's just a lot of challenges with it. It's the plumbing and some of those different things. Well, we find a lot of skateboard wax down the toilets and drains and just a ton of things that have really been causing a lot of problems. Our cameras currently are down, and so our IT department has been working with us to try to get that fixed. That's one of a big tool for us, so that way, our park rangers can't be down there the entire time. They have a lot of other parks to visit. So having those cameras is really important. It helps with another tool for the rangers so they can check up on it when they're in other places, but also so that if there's damage, we can actually look back and see who's doing it. The biggest deterrent for kids, not doing crazy stuff like that is getting caught and having consequences. So, we don't typically have the issues that we've been having here recently. We recently put in really nice new turf. So actually artificial turf, again, another pilot program that we had shared a couple years ago, and it made it into the budget this year. So there's an area where there's grass on the inside of the skate park. It's just on a really tough slope. It's not very easy to maintain. It has a lot of erosion. So they came in and regraded that area and put in artificial turf, and the kids really like it a lot. The families really like it. So we're doing a lot of neat improvements down there. And then stepping up, we had a really terrible incident on last Friday. The kids had promoted it's actually a cool thing, just not really what we want to have happening there. They had promoted a skate-off and invited all their friends on Snapchat, and so about 100 skaters are down there, and just really, not treating it properly, a lot of garbage, a lot of issues for this park rangers. So we're really right now, just want to make you guys aware, there's a lot of competing demands down there. And so we're working with the police department, our IT department, and our park rangers directly to kind of talk about some of the good strategies that we can have, some of our communications with our kids. We have a lot of really great kids at our skate park and a lot of really great families that enjoy it. So really wanting to kind of involve them with some of those things that might help to clean things up down there. So we're working on that, and I just kind of wanted to share that with you while I had the opportunity today. And then that wraps up our facilities updates. If you have any questions on the skate park or any other items. No? So then I will move in quickly to program update. We recently had our Easter activities. So for our week of Easter holiday event activities, we weren't able to do our huge Easter hunt. We're still in some of our COVID mitigation measures, and that is an agenda item tonight that I'll kind of save details on for that. But it was a very successful event this weekend. I'm really proud of staff for the efforts that they've been putting into some of these other alternative events that people can either drive through or come and pick up activities for at home, and then some of our virtual options. Additionally, you may have seen that our summer brochure, we posted that that's going out soon. Swimming lessons will be opening up April 17th to residents, and then May 1st, non-residents would have the opportunity to sign up. We're planning a full summer swim program, our pool being open for our normal amenities. However, I think as I shared before, we really are struggling with getting enough lifeguards and swim lesson instructors. It is a statewide issue right now. There's just not as many people going out for that stuff. Last summer was tough. A lot of pools closed. There was a lot of uncertainty in that job. So, I mean, I think that contributes to it. But I think we're down at the high school on Friday to be trying to encourage kids to put in, and we're hopeful to have a really good team again this summer, and as long as we have enough staff, we'll be able to do all the things that we have planned down there. Keep in mind, there will be some restrictions related to COVID, and we'll be able to have those, but we feel like we're going to be able to have a much better summer this summer. And then my last, really quickly, there will be 4th of July. We want to just kind of share that. We're working on the dynamics of what that looks like. Fireworks for sure. And we're looking to see what kinds of events. And so again, if things keep moving the way they are through the COVID mitigation and sort of the environment right now, then we will be looking at having some type of in-person events. If our county or our state regresses significantly, that would be the only thing that could change that plan. And so we just want to make you aware that we are working on that. We know that's a question that's out there. And then my last event thing that I wanted to share, this is not really a program event, but an event that's important to us. And I know she's going to be mad at me for sharing it, but Mary March is going to be retiring here shortly at the end of this month. And I'm not going to get a chance to share that with you guys in her presence, possibly until, a retirement party. But just wanted to share that out loud and in this environment. And I feel it fits under events on our agenda. So Mary has been with us for 36 years and knows more about our department than anybody. She's been in our department longer than any of our staff and is definitely the backbone of all the different things that happen, and we will definitely miss her. She's also a good, dear friend of all of ours, and we know we'll see her still, and we're really excited for her next chapter and for her to be able to spend time with her grandbabies and do some of those other fun things. She's given a ton to our city, so we're really appreciative of that, and we'll be letting you know whenever there's a little come by and see her for her last day and all that kind of stuff.
Thank you, Mary.
And that concludes my director's report.
Okay, we're going into old business.
Sorry, I thought there was going to be confetti. I was like,
You were waiting for that.
Okay. And so we have Jamie for the Parks and Recreation fee update. Jamie's just going to kind of introduce the topic, and then she and Riley will continue the presentation like they did last time.
Okay.
And then be ready for your questions.
So remember, we get nervous. When I get nervous, I talk fast, and I might miss important stuff. That's why they make two of us do it together. So as you remember, back in March, we came to you. This process actually started back in January of looking at our fees. We do this about every 5 years. Where are we at with the market? Where do we want to be? And just kind of assessing that. So tonight, we are coming back to present on different options that we've heard feedback from both council and from you guys. And so hopefully we've put that in an easy way for you to be able to see some different options as we present tonight. Just want to remind you of the market cities that we did use to help find our research. Sometimes we do look at a neighboring city like Mesa. They're a lot bigger than us, but they are folks who we do compete with for various services. So wanted to leave that up there for you guys. What we are going to do is Riley's going to come up. You guys have, I don't know if it's an attachment, but in your packet, it looks like a spreadsheet. It's labeled 2021 proposed fee changes, I believe. So Riley's going to come up and she's going to kind of go through those proposed changes. Once she's done and gone through that, then I'll come back up and kind of go through each category and just kind of summarize the biggest changes and give you guys an opportunity to ask questions or feedback that we will then later use for a recommendation also to council. If at any time you have questions, you don't have to wait. Simply just interrupt us and ask your questions, and we'll answer them the best that we can. So Riley, our management analyst, has put in a lot of work, so I'm going to let her take it from here.
And then you have the other one up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. really quickly while she's pulling that up, so just as a reminder, so today is just another discussion night. Next time we come, you'll be actually voting, so we'll take your feedback. You guys will actually be voting on the recommendation that we'll be sending to City Council, and then they'll present that to City Council at a future meeting.
Okay. So on this spreadsheet, I'm going to kind of explain it and then we'll go through it. So we have our current fees so you can see what we are currently charging. If we are changing anything to that current fee, it's going to be in that suggested changes column, and we have highlighted those in yellow for you guys to see those ones. And then we do have 2 columns for a 20% commercial / non-resident fee, and then a 50% commercial / non-resident fee, and then 2 different prices so you guys can see the difference between the 20% and the 50% increase, and then kind of give us feedback on which one you would like to see. So our first one is the meeting and classroom spaces, and then it's just the 2 excuse me, the 2 different fees for the 20% and the 50% if we were going to have commercial and non-resident fees for facility reservations. The next one is our sports fields. So the daytime usage and the evening usage is not going to change there. It would just be the commercial and non-resident. And then we have our field preps, which we are looking at increasing these prices to cover the cost of our personnel doing it. So it does take about an hour and a half of man hours to prep a softball or baseball field, and then it takes about 6 hours to do a soccer or football field. And it might be 1 guy doing it, it might be 2 guys doing it, but in the time it takes, that's how long it takes for the total to do it. So that's what those prices are, the 80 and the 40.
Riley, really quickly,
Yes.
in addition to personnel, keep in mind, so there's paint. Soccer fields require a whole lot more paint and a lot of other things. So really looking at what our costs are, we need to at least be breaking even, and we were not previously. So just kind of keep that in mind as you look towards it.
Our next one is our sports courts. So first come, first serve would stay as no fee. We are looking at increasing the $2.50 an hour to $5 an hour, just to get us closer to that benchmark average of our market cities. And then the gymnasium fee would stay the same, just adding the commercial non-resident. And then we have the Veterans Memorial Park with no changes. And then our group use areas, so the Ramadas, the multi-use areas, with no changes there, just the 2 different columns. And then we have our rodeo grounds with no changes, just the commercial fees on there for you. And then the next big change that we have is the swimming pool. So we are looking at increasing our pool rental fees, and this is to cover the cost of our lifeguards and any maintenance that we would have to the pool, all of that. With minimum wage increasing over the past 5 years, we are not breaking even with our pool rentals. And so these prices would make us break even and then help give us a little more to do the maintenance and stuff of the pool. And then we have our special services and equipment that we offer. And the only change to this one is our personnel fee. So we are looking at increasing it to 30 from 25 to, again, with the minimum wage and all of our salaries going up, helping cover the cost of what we're paying for our employees to be out at events that we normally wouldn't be out at. So, and then in that one is also the mobile stage. So last time we talked, we kind of decided that we were going to get rid of some fees, make the mobile stage a little bit easier to rent. So we are gonna get rid of the stage setup and close down fee, and just make it $500. We did add a additional day, so if they're renting it for 2 days, it would be $250 for that additional day. And then it would still be the $500 refundable security / cleaning deposit that they would get back if the stage came back how we needed it. And then the commercial fees. And then we get into our program and activity fees. So this one is just the current fee, and then if we want to change it. And these are the ranges so that we have different leagues or different prices, all that. So that's why it's a range. So the current adult sport league is $50 to $500. We want to lower that range to $5 to $500, and that gives us the option to do our golf league that starts at $5, but they are also paying a greens fee at the golf resort or the golf course that they are at. So that would give us that option to do that. And then the only other one is our special event range. We want to do that to 50 from 10, so that we can have vendors and booth registrations at all of our events if we needed it. And then we are going to move on to our facility entry fees. So again, the current fee and the suggested change, we are suggesting that we raise our daily fees and our season passes at the pool with the increase of minimum wage and then the increase of the chemical costs and maintenance to the pool. This would help recover some of those costs for us. And we have no changes to the multi-gen center entry or membership fees that we are recommending.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I remember that golf, so is it just like the verbiage? Because I thought there was something about like you paid, somebody who wanted to do golf would pay something at Parks and Rec and then they still had their green fee. So is it just a verbiage thing that we're changing?
No, so the range right now is 50 to 500, and so we need it to be that 5 to 500.
Our code needs to be changed so that way we can allow for lower amounts than $50. And so we're making that formal change to our code. So that it's technically verbiage, I guess, but it really is. We have to have the ability to charge that low for that category.
Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Jamie to go over what you just heard.
A recap.
So basically, I am going to recap in a nutshell your guys' spreadsheet. So you might want to keep that handy in case you have questions. The first aspect that she went over was the facility and the equipment rental recommendations. So we discussed, and we have been discussing, adding that commercial fee, so allowing businesses to be able to use our facilities and our equipment. We have also heard discussion on adding a non-resident fee, which we currently do not have. So we thought that we would start this gently and only charging it with our facility reservations and having that non-resident fee. So allowing those that live here in AJ to go at a lower rate, but those coming from outside of AJ would be charged a non-resident rate. We are not proposing to do that with our programs yet. We'd start here, ease our way in, see how that goes. But that is up for discussion.
Jamie, do we have any idea the percentage-wise of residents versus non-residents that use these programs?
That are currently renting facilities?
Right, right.
I don't know that we have that number right now. We could definitely get that. Yeah.
I'm just wondering how many people that use our facility are going to be affected, and what the reaction will be negative as far as reducing attendance.
Well, what I can tell you, especially during COVID, what we saw a lot more at our parks is a lot more facility reservations out at the parks. And it's not going to affect the people living here, it's going to affect the people who don't live here. So it's going to affect Mesa, Santan Valley. So if they want to come and use our facilities, they're going to pay a little bit more. And depending on what we choose, it's 20 to 50% more. and on an $8 Ramada reservation, they're not going to, based on what they probably pay in their own cities that they live in, they might not even notice.
Okay, thank you.
So we do want to update some of those base costs that we are charging based on how much it is actually costing us. So the field preps, the pool rentals. It's very important for us to start to at least break even. And as minimum wage has increased, our costs have increased. And in 5 years, everything has increased from your products to your supplies. And so we want to make sure that what we're charging is conducive to what we're having to spend. And we're hoping that this brings us a little bit closer to that.
Jamie, could I also add, so the sports courts, it probably doesn't really feel like there's a lot of expense in that, but there is a lot to maintain them. And currently, we didn't have a lot of reservations at those. But again, as COVID came about, there's a lot more people, especially our pickleball courts, some of our other courts that are out there. And we have a lot of some people feeling like they should just be allowed for first come, first serve, and everybody duke it out with what they want to do. We want to make sure that there's the option for people that want to have that reservation, just like all of our other facilities, a Ramada, a ball field, that they could have that, but that it comes at a cost, and that it's the first come, first serve. We still have the free option for all of our community. And so remember, back to some of those original conversations, we have those different fee categories. There's the no fee for the passive use. They're not using anything a little extra than anybody, but as soon as they are monopolizing a facility, then we want to be looking at what can that charge be. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're going through these. Sports courts is the one that I would just say is we haven't changed it in so many years. So while we might not have a lot of changes in their costs right now, we have not had that fee changed. Since I've been here, I think it's been the same fee. So this would be the first time in a really long time to try to get it back a little bit closer to market.
I think Riley did a good job explaining our sports field preps, just the amount of time that it takes to put into those. Our personnel fees, again, it's been 5 years, and anybody who would say that they've never had a raise in 5 years, this is a direct result of having to pay higher minimum wage cost, and that hasn't been changed in 5 years. And it's a change of $5 per hour, so it's not a huge change. And then the stage fees. That one, again, really, you guys had a lot of input and feedback saying that we wanted to see a little bit of a discount if somebody's going to be using it for multiple days. It didn't make sense to have a personnel fee that was mandatory to pay on top of your rental fee, so we kind of combined those together. Our facility entry fees, again, minimal. We went for the pool because the pool is at a higher cost to run and to maintain. And it also evens out the amount. So instead of paying $1.50, it's going to $2. And I will tell you that our cashiers will very much appreciate that. Rolling the coins, it's hard to find coin rollers and coin counters. So we can't even take them to the casino because they don't do it anymore. So, and then no change to the multi-gen center fees at this time. So again, very minimal changes to those program ranges. It's really just allowing us to accommodate a wider range of activities. Our special event fee, was capped at $10. We'd like to be able to bring in and have vendors and be able to have a little bit of money coming in while they are, hopefully going to be making money at our events. And that's really giving us a little bit more freedom to increase those ranges, but very minimal. So after tonight, we're going to take your feedback and we're going to put it together, like Liz said, as a final recommendation, and we'll bring it back for approval. Once we have approval, then we will present that at a council meeting. And should they approve it, we hope that we will be able to have these go into effect September 1st. There are some different things that we will have to do because they are commercial fees if we go the route of charging commercial fees with giving businesses adequate notice. So there is some different steps that we have to take in between all of this, but our goal is September 1st. But should it take a little bit longer, we're here for you guys, so we're not going to rush anything you guys aren't ready to do yet. But so we're here tonight to take back your feedback if you have changes or suggestions. Again, remember we gave 2 options for a 20% or a 50% is on those commercial fees.
Jamie, can I mention really quick, sorry, Frank. Remember that the commercial fees, so we did not have the option for businesses or profit-making entities prior to now. Well, they still can't now. We only were able to allow nonprofits or private people to be able to rent our facilities. This, adding these commercial fees, was asked by council and by yourselves several years ago, that we look at this option, so that way we can allow our businesses to rent our stage, to rent our facilities, and to be able to be out there for that. So just wanted to put that in there as a reminder that this is not an increase to any businesses. It's allowing them to be able to use it.
So voila, my last
Okay.
slide.
My question is to raise the fees to cover the expenses, but also we should put there a little bit for repairs or replacements. So not only what it costs now, but you have to put that one in the budget, because when you have to replace it, you don't have the money, you can replace it. So it's better to put a little bit extra now than to be short tomorrow. So that's my suggestion, because everything goes up and nothing comes down.
Any other questions for Jamie? Frank?
Yeah. First of all, really nice presentation.
Thank you, Riley.
Very easy to follow and to understand. That makes our job much easier. I'm really pretty good with everything, but I'm a little concerned about some of the pool fees, especially for the 17 and under and the family. This kind of the group that's special to my heart is how do we take care of our families and children. Now, I know we have a scholarship program of some kind. My concern is what I'd call the shoulder or the cusp people. They don't qualify for the scholarship, and they don't make enough money to really afford the fees. So these are 20% increases, which even though it's been 5 years, that's 4% a year, and I don't think inflation has done us 4% a year. I understand the minimum wage, and that really is an effect. But I would like to see if we can somehow find money, somehow rearrange things to make it a little easier on the children and the families as far as the fees go.
And so as far as our scholarship program works, it is for those that reside in the Apache Junction School District. So it covers those that are in Gold Canyon. It covers our community area. And there's different various ways that they can show their financial need. And if they're on free or reduced lunch, that's all we need. That's a qualifier. We work with Head Start to give us referrals. So if we get a referral from Head Start saying that this is a family in need, then they qualify. There is also they can show, are they still showing taxes? So thank you. Their taxes for that, guideline. So we do have various, if they're on any type of DES or receive any type of support that way, again, that beneficiary letter or benefit letter is substantial enough to get them. And they can use those scholarships for a family pool pass. So, and we do have several. They come in, they get a pool pass, they can get it scholarshiped, and it helps pay that daily entry fee. Those kids show up, they give a name, they go in. There's no money transaction happening at that time.
Again, my concern is between those who can afford the pool program and those who don't qualify for scholarship. There's a group there, and I think a 20% increase is a lot.
Might be a little steep.
For families and children. I just feel that.
So Frank, maybe in looking at the actual amount though, so I totally understand what you're saying about the percentage. And it's hard to look at a percentage, especially when we haven't changed our fees previously. I don't believe it's actually in the last study that we did, I don't believe we raised fees at that point in time. So we can certainly go back and look to see how long it's been. I wish I could remember. That would have been a good point to have. But we can bring that back. We can take a look at that and see how long. Because if it's really been 10 years, then it's not the same percentage.
Right.
And remember that we shared last time all of the market stuff, of what is the average. So again, thinking about what can a family afford, they do have a little bit different of an income. Is $2, is that the right amount? Yes, $2 for a child to come in. Is that too much? Is that well worth the safer place to be and to be? So think about it like that too. And we don't like our facilities to be used as babysitting, but $2 versus finding somebody to care for their child or And again, I hate to even use that example because we try to discourage that being the use. But the reality is, a lot of people bring them there for activities. So going to our pool instead of some other recreational amenity that costs quite a bit more, if you guys could take these and look at it, and you can certainly keep weighing in here. That's what we're here for today. I think that's excellent feedback. And
Well, I really didn't make myself clear enough. I don't have a problem with the 50 cents. That makes just way too much sense not to do that. There's no reason to have to deal with the change. We've dealt with that at church, too.
right.
I
But-
hear you volunteering to come count change this time.
No way, that's why I say I don't have a problem with that 50 cents, but the season pass for the under 17 and for the families, I would really, I'd like to see those reduced to 10%. That's my own personal feeling.
Well, and I
And,
will tell you that opening
easier.
weekend, the past 2 years before COVID, we started to do a special. So if they came in prior to or during the opening weekend of the pool, we discounted our memberships by 15%.
Okay.
So there is an opportunity. Again, what this year will look like, we're not sure because we don't know what is all going to happen with the pool opening and whatnot. But that has been our standard, is to be able to offer that discount. So you're looking at a 15% discount should they come in early or during that weekend and get their pool pass.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay.
So, but you would like us just to take a look at the memberships is what you were focusing on.
On the season pass for
Got it.
17 and under,
that.
and
We
for
can
and for the family pass.
Okay, we can bring back some more information.
Those I think are just two groups that need maybe more cushion than anybody else.
Okay.
How many hours is the pool open?
In a non-COVID world, the pool would be open 12:30 to 6, Monday through Friday, and then every day, actually, Saturday and Sunday as well.
So
And then in the morning is swim lessons and lap swim, and then after 6 is more swim lessons and more lap swim, and then we also have special events.
So kids are there, kids could be there all of those hours? then
About
from-
5 hours a day. I think
Yeah.
it's 5:30 now is the closing, right?
Yes, 5:30.
So about 5 hours every day for that amount of money. And the membership fee is kind of done by looking at what would be a good chunk of days, and is it a better deal to buy them in advance versus coming every day and paying for it? But I think we can absolutely look at that and look to see if there's changes, and also give you some feedback on maybe the last couple of increases we did. I think that would be very helpful.
Any other questions?
So we do need your input on whether or not for this, and this is our first time doing it, we wanted to give you both options of a 20%. So for our commercial fees, we talked about, and with council and with you, that we want to open it up for businesses, but we do feel like they should be paying more of a price than the average resident, than a nonprofit. Our fees have always been the nonprofit rate. We go and compare with every other city's nonprofit rate for our current fees right now. So these fees these commercial fees would be more comparable to City of Mesa, all of the smaller cities on our list, for-profit commercial entity fees. And so they ranged all over the place. Some of the cities did them case by case. Some of them were 100% more. Some of them were 50% more. We wanted to give you an option of maybe doing a 20%, and you could see what those fees look like, the difference, and then a 50%. Again, the 50% is a little bit more comparable to what some of the cities are doing, but is that right for our city? Those are the things that we would like. And if there's more information you need to make that decision, or if you have feelings today, we just kind of want to hear that.
Well, could we do 20% non-resident and 50% commercial?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Great minds think alike.
Possibly.
I mean, that to me seems more reasonable. It seems reasonable to take some money from the non-residents because residents tend to spend more money here and, spend more money for our tax base. At the same time, commercial, if they're going to use our property, let's get some payback. So I would go for 50% commercial and 20% non-resident.
I would
I think we're all
too.
in agreement. Do you have other thoughts?
Well, the non-resident 20% is not bad. I would prefer a 25%.
You quit splitting hairs.
Well,
Sure.
we give a commodity to use our facilities at the non-residents.
And they're not at the 50%. So, I mean, it could be, the way we're originally talking about is that it's, whatever was going to be for one would be for the other.
I just think it makes sense to split them. They're two different kinds of people. Commercial may use our facility to make money, the non-residents just want to
They're
recreate.
another individual using the facility, but they're not necessarily paying taxes in our community, but they're still an individual and not a business or a profit-making entity.
And again, because we have Gold Canyon is so much
Right.
part of AJ, do we really want to price them out?
Right, that's a good point. And remember, that's kind of why, as we got your feedback about the resident fees for programs, our programs survive, with other people being a part of them. So we're very leery about doing a non-resident fee for programs. But this would be a good way that it's a little less impactful to the day-to-day for people. It's a facility, you're coming to Rena Ramada for a party. So what are your guys' thoughts then on Commissioner Buzen's idea of, instead of a 20% for non-residents, doing a 25%? Or do you want it just the way that
I think
that they've proposed?
I think the way they've proposed it is good, but I agree with Frank, like non-resident and then commercial.
If we, once that's like, say that this is all good to go by city council, when would we meet again? Another 5 years?
Well, we just do it approximately then. It's actually been 6, maybe almost, by the time this goes into effect, it'll be 7 years.
Oh.
We just try to kind of take a look at the market every 5-ish years. We did that last year, but then COVID happened. We didn't really feel that it was very smart or kind to do that. We do need to look at them. So we have to be able to, so remember we talked kind of about the pie also. So there's a small percentage of our operating costs are paid for by fees. A big part is paid for by sales tax dollars. The rest of it is paid for by grants and sponsorships and other things like that. This little piece of the pie just needs to pay for a little bit more of our operating costs. And we've always been really low. We're still very low whenever you guys look at the market data that we shared last time, the average. We're still lower than in almost every area than the average. And again, you can look through your stuff that we've already had if you want us to, we have time. Now that you've kind of seen this part, this is our 3rd meeting on the topic. There's no we're not in a huge hurry. We just want to make sure that we do what the council asked. We do want to implement, we do need to make it so that that for-profit entities can reserve our facilities. That was one of our directions. And so we don't want to drag that out forever, but if there's some other details that we could bring you that would be helpful, we're happy to do that.
I think the 50% for the commercial makes sense. And I'd go along with Luciano's 25. I mean, 25% and 50%, they kind of go together.
Like a quarter and then
A quarter
and a half.
And a half. I mean, that kind of works its own way out. And we sure can use the revenue. And I don't think that'll price the people out that much. Like you say, it's rentals, it's not the programs.
And I think the key is looking at the fees themselves. So when you look at that, even at the 20%, sometimes it's a $3 difference on our field prep. It's a $1 difference on our sports courts that people reserve. So it's not a humongous amount of money, and so maybe that's helpful too.
Well, and we're doing a lot of work on upgrading all of these fields and different portions of these parks. So it makes sense to.
Well, how would those numbers work for staff, for 50% for corporate and 25% for non-resident? Does that seem to be more conducive to keeping the numbers where we need to keep them?
Yeah, I think that we can bring back those figures at a 25 and a 40, or 25 and a 50%. We try to round up or round down to where it makes sense to the nearest dollar.
Yeah.
But again, like keeping it on the 1.25. For me, I'm in recreation. I'm not an accountant major, so that makes it really easy. So,
And
I even
One-fifth.
You do enough hard work already, you don't need to do more.
and Frank, in regards to the pool fees, just remember, these will not take effect this summer. So our fees will be what they are this summer. It would take place a whole following, and so we'd have all that time to be able to prepare. And summer is our busiest time for our families and our kids looking for things to do, and so it's not like it would be changing in, in a month. Oh, this is a surprise to us. We would have almost a full year to prepare for that.
That's good.
Riley also indicated on your sheet in yellow suggested change. So most of our changes that we'd like to add would be that commercial at 50% is what I'm hearing, and a non-resident for facility reservations at 25%. But in that yellow were some suggested changes that we wanted to make to our current fees. Are there any questions or suggestions on those changes? Again, it was the field prep to cover the costs. It's the tennis courts and pickleball courts to bring us to market.
You already
And then-
discussed the pool
Yeah,
fees,
the only-
so
We discussed the
is there
pool
anything
fees.
left?
Everything else looks really good. I think it makes a lot of sense. I just worry about kids and families.
And everything looks good. I've referenced our rental fees with the benchmark. Even if we were going to do a 25% for non-residentials, it's still at or below the benchmark.
Okay,
So,
of the other
I'm a
cities.
numbers person, so I was like, hold on, I'll
Yay.
go back and I'll look and
Right.
reference.
Love our numbers people.
Good deal. Yeah. Okay, so we
right.
will
Good.
bring back the final recommendation for you. You'll have a chance to discuss it again, and you'll have the chance to take action on it at that point.
All right, guys, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your hard work.
Do you want to announce my next agenda, and then I'll wrap us up
Okay.
on our agenda?
Okay, and discussion on COVID-19.
Whoops, wrong one again. I'm just going to kind of reference our, thank you, Vice Chair Bori. I'm going to reference our COVID page just to help us to kind of get through it easily, and you don't just have to listen to me. So at any point in time, you guys can certainly click to here. If you go to our main page at the /parks, at the very top, there's a link to take you to the COVID update. So we always have kind of what we're doing, what's the most recent thing that's happening. So events and programs, we are starting to move into trying out some more events. 4th of July will be our first true, closer to what we're used to. And then kind of moving from there, as long as things continue to go well. Programs, we are continuing to do the small group programs and just having a lot of COVID precautions in those. So this summer, we'll have a lot of mini sports camps and mini arts and crafts. We'll work with Boys and Girls Club. They'll have the full daycare and all those kinds of things. We will supplement whatever is kind of lacking in there, but we have a whole range of programs for summer of recreation classes. The Aquatic Center, I've already kind of shared with you. It's not updated on here now, but when we post our brochure, we should be having open swim, swimming lessons, water aerobics, pool rental. Those kinds of things are in the works. It's very reliant on our staffing. Senior services, we're very excited to announce. So Pinal Gila Council for Senior Citizens, they are our primary funder. They are the AAA agency that does all of the funding for the federal government dollars for senior services for the meal and transportation program. They have given us notice this last week that they are allowing entities to start bringing people back into centers on a very gradual basis. We had to propose our COVID plan for them based on CDC recommendations and guidelines. And so our staff is working on that. It will probably be like a gradual, instead of 70 or 50 people in our congregate meal, we might only allow 20 people. So that might mean they come 2 days a week instead of 5 days a week. Our van program will come back with a little bit smaller capacity. They might have to take multiple trips instead of bringing everybody at the same time. So the real goal is to kind of keep that physical distancing happening, having masks in place, and all of our usual all of our cleaning practices and things like that. But that will go to Pinal Gila Council, and they will approve our plan, and then we'll start implementing that. We hope in May, and we'll kind of build from there as we learn more about where we're at in the COVID environment. The Multi-Gen Center, we are fairly open and ready, with all of our services, just at a reduced capacity. So here recently in the last week or so, we opened back up. We're opening up showers. Our basketball gym is opened back up with the governor's notice, and there's no longer a mask mandate. We are still encouraging and recommending that people follow the CDC guidelines and wear masks. But really in those physical environments, we want them to have that choice. And so they will be able to come to the facility. If folks want to wear a mask, they certainly can. We encourage them to, if they cannot be physically distanced. But we have all of our equipment still spaced out. There's really not a lot of opportunities for people to be really close together, except in the gymnasium, in our pickleball courts. And so we kind of try to look at how are we going to address that. So we do have pickleball reservations right now, so they can come in and we can still start. All of these are kind of like that gradual opening up. Let's see what else is new. The climbing wall, we started back. I think that should be, it's going on, right? Climbing wall? It was only open for the, okay, so we'll find out if we, yeah, so right now we opened up the climbing wall for spring break as we announced last meeting, but until we get more of our staff on board and get this next round of staff on, we just don't have enough people to rotate to all of these. We let a lot of folks go at the end of summer or as they left. We just really didn't rehire a lot of folks. So right now we're being able to kind of gear back up as a city and get those people on board again. And then parks and outdoor spaces. So our parks have been open. We've kind of had some restrictions. Our biggest impact at our parks right now is just that we don't have to do the 50 and over COVID mitigation, posting it to the website. We still ask when people are reserving, what are your COVID practices are. Here's a list of the CDC recommended guidelines. We are still requiring them to do some cleanings and things like that to help out. But we are gradually letting groups kind of come back and be, in the parks in a little bit larger of groups and do some different things. But otherwise, really everything has been pretty open out in the parks themselves here in this last little bit. Are there any questions of COVID practices or some of the things that we are implementing as we kind of move forward?
The fitness center still need reservations?
No, they do not. We really weren't seeing a gob of people for general facility reservations, so we really felt like that was just consuming staff time and not necessary. Group fitness classes, because they have the potential to be bigger and in a smaller space, they are still doing reservations, so that way we can keep those spaces limited. Same as pickleball, just trying to keep not so much of the gathering. We know that's really important and people enjoy it. We'll get back there soon. I feel very confident, but we just want to do things, kind of as we close them, we'll be reopening kind of as much in the reverse order as we can, or with the knowledge that we have today is kind of what we're trying to use. And then checking with our peers around the state.
Mountain View is opening up pickleball too, 2 days a week now.
Okay.
Just 2 hours.
So they've opened up a little bit, and I think we've been open for how, pickleball, just a couple weeks? Yeah, so just a couple weeks that we've been open for pickleball by reservation as well. So it's getting hotter, and so we really want to kind of have some of those options so that people aren't just outside. So a little bit gradual for everybody, giving everybody a little bit of something is kind of what our hope is. Any other questions on COVID programming? My very last COVID update is I just wanted to share with you, what we are doing in the community. So our pods that we have been responsible for, so we have been really working closely with the county, trying to advocate for more vaccination sites out in our community. And so we spend a lot of time trying to work with entities to host our own stuff, and it just was a very challenging process. We were able to, Embry Health, who does the testing nearby to us, they finally got onboarded by the county for vaccinations, and the county had an allotment of vaccine that they needed to get out there, And so we partnered with the county and Embry Health, not last weekend, but the weekend before, the last weekend in March, and did a little over 1,100 vaccines over a 2-day period for anybody 18 and older in the Pinal County area and that kind of stuff, if they worked there or lived there. Super great event. It's probably about 40 volunteers each day, 40 to 50 volunteers each day, in addition to the few Embry staff that were there. Jamie and Larry kind of took the lead on all of the volunteer aspects of that, coordinating with Embry and making sure that all of the wraparound, so we didn't do any of the medical stuff, we kind of did the wraparound services. So traffic control, setup, having access to the council chambers for the volunteers to get out of the heat, offering equipment, and then running all the volunteers and training them on all that. We'll have a second dose event here coming up in April 24th and 25th, I think, is the second dose event that people will be going to. Any questions on COVID in general? All right, thank you so much.
And that brings us to new business.
Oh, no. No new business.
No new business?
No, nothing on the agenda.
Okay. And now we're at number 9, call to the public. And Arizona open meeting law allows individuals to address commission on any issue with the jurisdiction of the commission. Commission may not answer your questions or discuss your comments at this time. However, at the conclusion of call to the public, commission may do any of the following. 1, respond to the criticism made by any individual who addresses the commission. 2, ask staff to review a matter. 3, ask staff to place the matter on a future agenda. Commission shall not discuss or take legal action on matters raised at the call to the public, unless the matters have been properly noticed for discussion and legal action. Please stand, approach the podium microphone, and state your name and address after being called to speak. And there is a 3-minute time limit per speaker. Good evening.
My name is John Julian, and I live at 5330 North Grand Drive. My purpose for being here this evening is threefold. 1, to demonstrate to you all the harsh glare that comes from the field lights at Prospector Park. 2, to provide you all with a solution for mitigating the glare. And 3, to have you all acknowledge the problem by earmarking the necessary funds to make the park a better neighbor. To demonstrate the glare coming from the field lights at the park, I'm going to turn on my phone flashlight. If I can find it. And then I'm going to point it at you. So, anyone else in the audience here who has a phone or a flashlight on them that they can point at the board? And if we can turn the lights down, that might help a little bit too, to demonstrate.
I'm sorry, you can make your point without this.
Okay.
I don't see this as reasonable at all.
So, let me turn that off. Okay, this is what I and many of my neighbors see when I look out at the superstitions at night when the field lights are on. And I hope you all agree that that's an unpleasant thing to look at, because I find that it's very unpleasant to look at that kind of glare. And that glare comes from lights that are not shielded, and so that light spills into the neighborhoods surrounding the park. Anyway, I hope it's not just unpleasant. I hope it's something that is unacceptable, not only to me, but to most of the people who are looking at it. Which brings me to my second purpose, to provide you all with a solution for mitigating the glare coming from the park. And to help me with this, I brought the experts tonight. I've asked John Abney from Musco Lighting, probably the most premier lighting company in the world, sports lighting that is, to show you all what can be done to make the park a better neighbor. So, John, can you come up to the podium? And when John is finished, I'll briefly summarize.
So really quickly, you only have 3 minutes. So how about if you want to kind of maybe summarize your stuff, and then maybe John's can be a separate call to the public so that we can have time to hear from him as well.
Perfect.
Does that sound good?
Sure.
Thank you.
So, once you see what can be done, I believe you're all aware that the city of Apache Junction is seeking a dark sky designation. To achieve that designation, the city's going to have, or the community at large is going to have to make some significant changes to the way we light our facilities at night. So for that reason, and for what I've demonstrated to you all here this evening, I can't think of a better place to start than the field lights at Prospector Park. And I'm glad you're here tonight, because I'm sure that's something you probably want to be engaged with. And to that end, I'm asking you all to earmark the necessary dollars to make that happen sooner rather than later, please. And that's my presentation. Hopefully I didn't go over the 3 minutes.
You're good. Thank you.
Okay, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
John?
My name's John Abney. I live Litchfield Park, Arizona, but I've got the good fortune to do a lot of work here on the East Valley and here in Apache Junction. Recently got to do your Diamondbacks charity fields with our new LED lights and your Little League field next to that. So we're thrilled to be part of the community here, and as far as the lighting goes, and been here with Musco for 18 years in Arizona. I run all of Arizona. Got a new partner, D. Smith. He's helping out because we're real busy. Musco Lighting does 85% of the sports lighting in the world, so we are the largest there. And we've done so, we've got to that type of market share because of trying to protect neighborhoods, communities, and the dark skies. So the timing is fantastic for LED light. Has gotten much better, much more efficient over the last 5-6 years. 10 years ago, a lot of folks came to us and said, why aren't you doing LED? And well, it's just not very efficient yet. But as of about 5-6 years ago, it surpassed the metal halide fixtures that we've used for the last 40 years and is just that much more efficient. The unfortunate part about the metal halide light and the unshielded, the bare reflectors, lighting is easy science. It's the math we learned in high school for geometry and trigonometry. It's measurable. You know exactly what angle the lights need to be from a certain height pole, so it's very measurable. The old bare reflector unshielded metal halides got 25% of the light on the field. 75% of the light went into the community and the sky glow. So when you turn those lights on and you see all the dome of light above a facility, that's the problem with the old style reflector for metal halide, that 75% of the light created in those goes up into the sky. LED, much smaller light source, but a very bright light source, but it's much more directional, much more aimable, and we can get 80% of the light onto the field just by optics on the LED fixture. So I'm going to show you what 80% looks like from an LED fixture. So here you can see that's a scale model. It's a quarter scale of exactly the size of a standard sports light fixture. 80% of the light is going onto the field. The field's going to be very well lit.
John, I can give you like 1 more minute, so just,
Okay,
you're
1 minute.
doing good, but,
I'm big wrap up here.
okay.
So
Thank you.
the crazy thing is that a lot of companies think that's acceptable. They've got good optics, they get the light down on the field, and you can measure the light on the field. Musco doesn't do it that way, and there's other companies that are trying to follow suit now, so that's great. So that's why I say it's a good time to do sports lighting. For the first time in sports lighting, we've been able to do fully shielded directional stadium lighting. And so that's the reason that we do very well, and we're thrilled to do it. It's because we take the time to protect the night skies and protect the neighborhoods. Fully shielded sports lighting, you can see the line on the floor. We can literally put that line, and you've probably seen that at your Diamondbacks field and your Little League fields with the full cutoff fixtures, full shielded, and about 60 to 70% more energy efficient than what you have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the call to the public?
No, ma'am, that's it.
That's it?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would suggest that we do look into it, both for the cost factor and interesting you have a problem with lights. I worked for a church where we put in the new light down on Old West Highway in Goldfield, and there was quite a uproar over the light from that fixture. So this isn't the first time I've heard of a light issue.
Right.
So I can't do that. But anyhow, I would like the staff to look into the light issue. I can understand why it would be something.
We can put that on the next agenda. And we can also share with you kind of the CIP plan and some of the different stuff that Musco has actually shared with us over the years. We can share all of that stuff with you guys and let you know kind of where it's at in line.
Now, Larry, in developmental services, they got a light meter.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if we could ask developmental services to go out there and take some readings from this gentleman's house.
Right now, they're in the middle. I don't think I'm supposed to talk about it right now. I think we have to put this on an agenda item.
Let's do that.
But we know about that, and we can definitely look into stuff more. So I have it as a direction to staff, and we will definitely look into it and bring it back to your next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
So that'll be under the request for future agenda items.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other agenda items to add? Luciano? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
And we'll see you at the next meeting.
Great.
Okay, and I will adjourn the meeting. It is about, 7:18?
Perfect.